Now set up your 4 tracks. You've done 4 tracks of rhythm, and it looks like this. You've made sure that they are only 2 measures long. The way you know that is to look at the top bar up here. If it says 2, 3, that's measure 4, it starts here. It's only 2 measures long here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is go down to this little needle here at the bottom, and I'm going to slide it over to the right in order to zoom in a bit so I can see all of these sound clips a little bit more clearly. And now we need to reproduce these tracks digitally. So I'm going to go down to the bottom left and select this plus sign to create a new track. And I want to make sure I select a software instrument, say create. And because we're going to use a drum kit, we might as well go to the drum kit sounds. And for today, we'll use this hip hop sound. And now I've got a track, 1 track of drums, but I'm going to again go back to the track menu and duplicate this drum track till I have 4 of those. So now we have our 4 tracks that we recorded ourselves doing different beats on, and then we have these 4 new tracks that we're going to use to reproduce these beats. So for this top track, I'm going to use the top hip hop track here and move my needle to the first time that you see something happening in this clip. Okay, so if I double click on that, you can see right here as well where I could put the needle. Now sometimes it's not going to be exact, but if I know that in the control menu I have snap to grid on, that'll help me keep things in time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the needle to the closest place at the beginning of these sound waves. Okay, so I'm going to use this first one now, click on the hip hop thing, and here's the important part. When you're going to click in here on this track, but you want to click by holding down the command key. When I hold down the command key, it gives me this pencil instead of a mouse pointer. And if I click in here, it'll allow me to actually have a place in here to insert notes. Okay, so I have to make sure that this is starting at the same location as the loop does, and I extend, on the bottom right here, I'm going to extend this whole place here so I can have the same amount of time for the same part. So I put my needle exactly where that is, and I'm going to select the drum sound. I can just click on these keys here in the keyboard to find out what they sound like. I can scroll up and down. I want a drum bass, or bass drum I should say, so now I go over here and I need that pencil again to draw, so I'm going to hold down the command key on the keyboard and click there, because that's where the needle is. Now I go back to this, always looking at this top track. I put the needle to the next time where I clap my hands, go back down in here, hold down the command key and click where that needle is again. Do the same thing, move the needle back up here, command click in here. And I'm going to do this for every time I clapped. Oops, see, I'm over clicked, so now I'm going to click and drag on this over to the left. Move my needle up to the top track there. Oops, I overclicked, so boom. So now I've got 1 track done. To not get confused, I'm just going to mute that track now by selecting this speaker with a line through it. That means it will no longer play. And I'm going to do the same thing for these other tracks. Put my needle where the beginning of a sound is. You can see that over here. And I'm going to then insert it onto the next drum track. Put my needle again at the beginning of this next clip, and so on. In the next video, you'll see this all done.